Hey everybody, and good Wednesday evening to you. It's weather for Weather Geeks time. Did you see 21 News at 6, especially right at the top of the newscast? The wonders of live TV. I was out at Sparkle in Niles talking about Feed Our Valley. Of course, Second Harvest Food Bank continuing to take food donations, monetary donations for the next week to 10 days as part of that campaign. It's a great campaign, and we promote the heck out of it here at 21 WFMJ because, of course, we are affiliated with it. We're a sponsor of it, and it's a great cause. And I oftentimes at this time of the year do these live shots at Sparkle Markets in front of the cardboard donation box and talk about what you can do to help out. And, well, we were about 45 seconds away from being live on TV at the start of the newscast, and a guy comes up to me and asks me why we never talk about chemtrails. If you don't know, chemtrail is one of those conspiracy theories that some people believe in, that think that the government is poisoning us, that the exhaust you see coming out of the back of jet airplanes is poison. It's designed to control our minds. Some people believe that it's part of weather manipulation, weather engineering, geoengineering, if you will. And I was about to go on TV, so I couldn't really talk much to this guy. I just said, "That's not a real thing, sir. Excuse me, I got to be on TV here." And he just was really offended that I told him that chemtrails are not a real thing. It's just water vapor, just the same stuff that comes out of the back of your car, basically. And he went on to then basically just heckle me from off camera during my entire 45-second live shot at the top of the newscast. So, I've been doing this at this station for 7 years, and that's the first heckler I've had on TV. I've had some interesting things going on around me while trying to do the weather live, but never a heckler. All right, on to the weather today. Much like yesterday, it was not a terribly interesting day, especially in the temperature department. It was another day where temperatures hardly moved. It was 33, 34, or 35 every hour of the day since midnight last night or early this morning. At this time of the year, if it's dead overcast, chances are temperatures aren't going to move much because the sun is so weak behind those clouds. You're just not going to see much variation, and that was another day like we had yesterday. We had it again today. I'm going to let this animation roll a couple of times here. I wanted to show you 12 hours worth of data here, but it looks like I can only go back to about 11:30, so we'll start there. We had some flurries and snow showers pretty early in the day today, even as early as 9 o'clock or so. We had a pretty decent squall or two that came through right around lunchtime, and while this didn't really stick to anything other than top of people's cars and certainly non-paved surfaces, the roads were fine, but the visibility was reduced. This was a pretty good snow globe right around midday today. This went through, and we had some piddling flurries then for a while. Then we actually got into a pretty nice break as a lot of people went home from work and school mid to late afternoon. But now this is kind of transitioning into more of a pure lake effect regime, and ignore the green and the pinks and the various colors here. Sometimes in these marginal temperature situations, the algorithm that controls the colors on the radar just goes on the fritz a little bit. This is 99% snow. There might be a couple of raindrops trying to mix in, but it looks a lot crazier than it actually is. This is mostly just light flurries and snow showers around. Again, this is mostly a lake effect driven kind of a thing now. And actually, heavy enough tonight that the National Weather Service did hoist a lake effect snow warning up towards Erie, PA. Last year, the National Weather Service did not issue any sort of lake effect advisories, watches, or warnings. That's because, as part of a simplification project, they kind of folded these lake effect warnings and advisories into just general winter storm warnings, watches, and advisories, as in an effort to kind of slim down the number of products that the National Weather Service issues. After some feedback from end users of their products, they decided to bring back these lake effect products this winter. So you're going to see these from time to time this winter. Last winter, it would have just been winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings that were issued for a situation like this. Now, where the snow is expected to be not as heavy, it is just a general winter weather advisory, including Geauga County and over in northwest PA. Crawford County. This snow is pretty light, and it's falling into air that's a little above freezing. Road sensor temperatures are still almost across the board above freezing. So it's really just having a hard time sticking. And, this isn't going to amount to much tonight, but watch for a few isolated slick spots late tonight into early tomorrow morning. If a couple of lake effect streamers have a little bit of a punch to them, you might see half an inch or even close to an inch worth of snow in some spots, but that'll be the exception, not the rule. Most of us will see very little accumulation, but still watch out for isolated slick spots into tomorrow morning. Flurries will linger into tomorrow morning, and then I think as we get into the afternoon, Our model here is being a little too optimistic, trying to clear out the clouds. At this time of year, you just bet on clouds. I think it's still pretty cloudy. Second half of the day tomorrow, and a cloudy Friday on the way. Cold front will roll through. Very little fanfare with this front. Maybe there's a sprinkle or a flurry Friday, but I think we're largely dry. I think we're dry for the tree lighting and holiday parade in downtown Youngstown Friday evening. Under a blanket of clouds. Sky might be trying to clear at that point, but it might take till later in the night. It'll be pretty cold outside, temperatures in the lower 30s. And then finally, some vitamin D on Saturday as high pressure builds in. I think we'll have some sunshine on Saturday, followed by increasing clouds on Sunday. Good chance for rain by Monday into Monday night. And then a cold front will roll through Tuesday. I showed you this animation yesterday, and same idea here. This midweek cold shot looks pretty good, pretty intense. Not record setting or even unusual necessarily for mid-December, but a pretty significant cold shot will come out of Canada, and I think a week from today we'll be hard-pressed to get out of the mid-20s for highs. This is a look at the raw temperature data off the European model, showing that decently warm day ahead of our front, and then temperatures crash. And if you took the European model literally today, its run has us staying in the teens next Wednesday. I suspect that's overkill at this point, but I think we're in the 20s for highs next Wednesday, and overnight temperatures will likely be in the single digits and teens, and wind chills will probably also be in the single digits and teens on Wednesday. How long does that cold last? The worst of it is only a day or two. I think the pattern moderates somewhat. It doesn't turn warm, but it moderates a little. Does that cold come with any snow? At this point, I don't think odds favor a significant snow event anytime soon. We'll keep an eye on some trends for the second half of next week. Might be a minor system not far to our south that we'll have to keep track of second half of next week. But do I see a 6 to 12 inch big ticket snow event anytime soon? No, I do not, through at least the next week to 10 days or so. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. Be sure and check out my updated winter forecast coming your way Thursday evening on 21 News at 6 and 11, and right here on Weather for Weather Geeks.